Hey guys, this is James, and I put the Ender 3 through its paces for about a month now, and I thought I'd give you an initial impression and review. I'm going to be comparing a lot of it to my CR10S Pro, which is actually a very good printer. Before purchasing the Ender 3, I've gone through a lot of reviews, and I knew that I would be making some upgrades to the Ender 3. That is one of the reasons why I bought the Ender 3 instead of the Ender 3 Pro. Overall, from reading the reviews, it is a very good printer. The surface area is actually 230 and 230 going on to X and Y. For the Y direction, you're going to have to put 2 clips, or 4 clips rather, to put it on the bed itself. That's going to make the Y value about a 218 instead of the 220. That's what I found by measuring the end of the clip to the end of the clip. For most things that you're going to print, it's not going to get much larger than this unless you're creating like a full scale helmet. If you do a lot of cosplay or something like that, will not fit on here. However, you can actually just print it in parts and glue it together and then do a little sanding and create a full helmet. I would say that the actual instructions for the that come with the printer is not that good. So find a good video on YouTube on how to do the installation. You can actually watch my video or any of the other videos out there. Yeah, they're going to be better than the instructions that come with the printer itself. That's one of the negatives that I see about the printer. This is actually a very good surface as far as the plastic, the PLA adhering to the bed itself. You can tell that there is a thin layer of plastic still on the bed itself, and that is one of the bad things about this bed, as it will adhere to the bed really well, but as far as cleanup, it is a difficult chore to clean up this bed. It would go very smooth, and the same exact amount of rotation it would bind. You can definitely feel or tell from the bed that it would bind. After I switched out the wheels from the gantry to the bed, it still had that problem, so I was thinking about returning it and then getting a different Ender 3. At a certain point, after playing around with it a little bit, it kind of hit me that it was left in that position for a long time in the warehouse where it was under pressure, so the wheels deformed a little bit. And after about an hour or two playing around with it, the wheels actually went back into their original shape. Everything started rolling smoothly. So I kept some of my older prints, the initial prints that I made, and I've noticed that it would delayer. At a certain point, the layer would not adhere to the other layers. It actually separated at a certain point. That's because the plastic did not extrude well enough and then created a separation between the layers. And that's kind of the result that I kept on getting on my first initial prints. It's not that the motor is underpowered, because it is the same motor that's used on the CR10S Pro. However, the design, it seems like for the Ender 3, their teeth are smaller and one side is actually a smooth ring. So that might be a future upgrade. If you want to switch out the extruder to something that can print soft plastic, you might want to switch out the extruder. The tube itself was actually slightly loose from the extruder. When I tightened everything up and put the side mount, it seemed to just automatically solve the problem. So after that, I did not have any of the delayering issue or under extrusion issue. As you saw from my previous video, you just have to print a lot of different pieces to tidy up everything, and you're going to just use a little bit of plastic to create those covers and upgrades. There's a possibility that the filament may actually go into the fan. This fan is directly over the bed. The LCD board is exposed. Also, the microSD slot is way too low, which makes it very inconvenient. One of the things that it is kind of like a con, that you have to use the knob, which is a little bit cumbersome, I would say, or time consuming, as opposed to if you have a touch screen like the CR10S Pro. It's much easier. You can just input the temperature that you need, and that's one of the disadvantages of this printer. It's a minor inconvenience right now. That's something that's going to be solved pretty soon, pretty easily. I will be interfacing it from a different room and not using the SD card itself. I will not be using the knob. I will be using more likely the Octoprint to print. The Ender 3 is pretty loud. Sometimes the noise sounds like it's in between a 1980s arcade game like Galaga and Space Invaders, and sometimes it feels like it's like Morse code. So when I discovered that the bed was not rolling correctly, I was actually going to return the printer and then exchange it for another one. However, at the time I did not purchase it from Amazon. I actually purchased it from Banggood. It took about a week to get the shipment, and I didn't want to do the exchange where I would have to reorder, reship it, and then which would take another maybe a week and a half or more. That was the reason why I did not return it initially, which was a good thing, because I discovered that the eccentric nuts were tightened so hard that the wheels were under compression, and by relieving the eccentric nuts and playing around for a little bit of time, it did solve the problem. So if you guys do get an Ender 3 and then notice that the bed is not moving correctly, or all of a sudden it starts to bind, it's not really binding. The wheel actually slides at the point where it had contact with the rail. So if you don't see any kind of bends or any kind of deformation on the steel rail itself, loosen the nuts and then let the wheels move freely for a bit, and then see if that solves the problem. And that was the only major issue that I had, other than the delayering issue. All of the problems were pretty much solved after a little bit of tinkering. For the price, the Ender 3 is a solid build. It has a aluminum frame, it has a heated bed, it has a good enough build volume. Yeah, so overall I'm gonna give this Ender 3 a very good review. Oh yeah, I would say the fan is probably underpowered for the nozzle. If you have any questions, just leave a comment below and I'll try to respond to you. I'm going to place some affiliate links on the bottom description below. If you use them, that'll help me out. You can always like the video and comment, and always go ahead and subscribe and share. I'd appreciate it. Thanks.